Chosen one, there is a truth you must face. Your compassion is gone. Once your heart may have been open to others, tender, willing, and full of love. But somewhere along the way, something shifted. The world's hurt, disappointments, and struggles may have hardened you, causing your heart to withdraw into itself. Life's trials can weigh heavily on your soul, and the emotional fatigue from constant giving, from feeling unseen or unappreciated, can wear you down. In the face of this, it may seem easier to protect yourself by closing off your heart, by choosing not to care as much, or by numbing yourself to the pain. But this has left you empty. The compassion that once flowed so freely is now a distant memory, and you find yourself feeling disconnected, hardened, or indifferent. It's a natural response in a world that demands so much from you. You've been hurt, chosen one, and maybe you've been disappointed by people who let you down, or situations that seem to mock your best efforts. The deeper the wounds, the more difficult it becomes to offer compassion. It feels safer to withdraw, to protect yourself, and to shut off the very part of you that was meant to connect with others in love. And yet, even in your numbness, you feel the void that is left behind, the emptiness where compassion used to reside. Your heart, once full of grace and empathy, now feels distant, like it's become a shell of what it once was. But listen, chosen one, you are not lost. Your heart, though battered and broken, is not beyond healing. There is still hope for you, still room for transformation. The first step in reclaiming your compassion is acknowledging that it's been lost. It's not about pretending to be something you're not, or forcing yourself to feel compassion when you don't. It's about recognizing the truth that your heart has been wounded, and that the journey to healing begins with understanding the cause of that wound. This moment, this very realization, marks the turning point in your journey. It's the moment you allow yourself to begin the process of reclaiming your heart, of healing the wounds that have kept you from loving freely. So why has this happened, chosen one? Why has compassion slipped away from you? The world is heavy, yes. You've faced betrayal, disappointment, perhaps even abandonment. Maybe you've given and given only to feel unappreciated or unnoticed. These are real hurts, real wounds, and they don't simply disappear on their own. And yet it's not just the world's hurt that has caused you to shut off. It's the pain you've allowed to build up within yourself. Each disappointment, each rejection, each emotional wound has added another layer, until one day you found that you couldn't feel the same way anymore. It's easier to be numb than to feel the depth of your pain. It's easier to keep people at arm's length than to risk being hurt again. But here's the thing, chosen one, you were not meant to live this way. You were made for connection. You were made to love, to show compassion, to offer grace, and to serve others with a heart that overflows. This is how God created you. And even if your compassion has been buried under layers of hurt, even if it feels unreachable right now, it is still there waiting to be reclaimed. To reclaim your compassion, you must first begin to recognize the pain that has caused you to close off. This may be uncomfortable. It may stir up emotions you'd rather not face, but healing begins with honesty. Take a moment now to reflect on the things that have caused your heart to harden. What are the wounds you've carried with you? Are there past relationships that have left scars? Are there betrayals or unmet expectations that have created emotional walls within you? Whatever they are, give yourself permission to acknowledge them. You don't need to hold on to the pain, but you do need to face it. Healing requires vulnerability. It's the willingness to look at your wounds, to allow God to heal them, and to trust that you can love again even in the face of pain. God's compassion for you is unending, and He knows the depth of your hurt. He sees your heart, and He wants to heal it. His love is greater than your wounds, and His grace is more than sufficient to restore what has been broken. Remember this, chosen one. Your heart is precious to God, and He is with you every step of the way in your healing journey. The process of reclaiming your compassion may take time. It may not happen overnight, and that's okay. It's not about rushing through your pain or pretending that everything is fine when it's not. It's about being patient with yourself and allowing God to work in His perfect timing. The more you surrender your pain to Him, the more you will begin to experience a transformation that only His love can bring. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a process, a journey of healing that will deepen your connection to God and to others. One of the most powerful things you can do on this journey is to practice self-compassion. You may have spent years giving to others, offering love and care, while neglecting to show the same kindness to yourself. But healing begins with treating yourself with the same grace that God shows you. It means recognizing that you are not defined by your mistakes, your pain, or your past. You are God's beloved child, and He loves you deeply no matter what. Allow yourself to receive that love and offer it back to yourself. This is the foundation of reclaiming your compassion, learning to love yourself as God loves you, not for what you do, but for who you are. As you begin to heal, you will find that your heart starts to soften again. The walls that you've built around yourself will begin to crumble, and you'll find the courage to love once more. Your compassion will begin to grow not from a place of obligation or duty, but from a place of genuine love and grace. You'll be able to connect with others on a deeper level, to empathize with their struggles, and to offer the same mercy that God has offered you. This is how true healing works. It doesn't just restore you to what you once were. It transforms you into something even more beautiful, even more capable of love. Chosen one. Remember this, your compassion is never truly gone. It may be buried, it may feel distant, but it is still there waiting to be awakened. Allow God's healing power to restore your heart. Trust that as you release the pain of the past, God will fill you with the love and compassion that you have been longing for. In that compassion, you will find the fullness of life that God has created for you, a life filled with connection, purpose, and divine love. Chosen one, as you begin the process of reclaiming your compassion, you may find yourself facing an internal struggle. The wounds that have caused your heart to close off, the hurts you've carried with you, are not easily dismissed. These feelings have built up over time, and it's natural to feel resistance as you attempt to reconnect with your true heart. The journey to healing is not without difficulty. It may seem as though the road ahead is long and uncertain, but know this, you are not walking alone. God is with you, guiding you every step of the way. And even in the moments when healing feels impossible, God's grace is at work within you, renewing and restoring. To reclaim your compassion, chosen one, you must first confront the reality of your pain. It's tempting to bury your hurts or push them aside, to put on a mask of strength and pretend that everything is fine. But in doing so, you only prolong the healing process. To truly heal, you must be willing to face the truth of your emotions and the impact that your pain has had on your heart. You may have built walls around your feelings, hiding them away for fear of being hurt again. But healing begins with vulnerability, the willingness to acknowledge the pain and allow God's love to enter the deepest parts of your soul. This process of vulnerability can feel uncomfortable, even frightening. But remember, chosen one, that God is calling you to release the burden of carrying your pain alone. His love is the balm that will heal your wounds. In His presence, there is no need to hide. You are safe, you are loved, and you are seen by the one who knows you better than anyone else. It is in God's love that you will find the strength to confront your pain, to let go of the past, and to open your heart once again to compassion. The act of reclaiming your compassion also requires forgiveness. Forgiveness is a crucial part of the healing process. It is not simply about releasing others from their wrongdoings. It is about freeing yourself from the bitterness and resentment that have taken root in your heart. Holding on to unforgiveness only keeps you chained to the past. It keeps you stuck in a cycle of hurt, anger, and pain. But forgiveness, chosen one, is not about excusing someone else's actions. It is about releasing the control that those actions have over you. It is about choosing peace over bitterness, healing over hurt. You may be thinking, how can I forgive when the pain is so deep? How can I love again when I have been hurt so many times? It's a valid question, chosen one, and the answer is this. Forgiveness is a choice, not a failing. It is something you do even when your heart doesn't immediately want to let go. It is choosing to trust God with the pain to release your desire for justice and to allow His healing power to flow through you. Forgiveness is not a one-time act. It is an ongoing decision to let go of the past and embrace the peace that God offers you. As you begin to forgive, you will notice something miraculous happening within you. Your heart will begin to soften. The walls you've built to protect yourself will begin to crumble, and the love you once had for others will begin to flow once again. Forgiveness doesn't just heal the relationship with the person who wronged you. It heals your relationship with yourself. It allows you to release the emotional weight you've been carrying, and it frees you to live in the freedom that God has promised you. The journey to reclaiming your compassion also involves recognizing your own worth. When your compassion is gone, it's easy to fall into the trap of believing that you don't deserve love or kindness. You may feel that your mistakes, your failures, or your past have disqualified you from being loved. But hear this truth: your worth is not determined by your past, your mistakes, or the things you've been through. You are a beloved child of God, and your value is not based on what you do, but on who you are in Him. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of compassion, and most importantly, you are worthy of God's grace. When you understand your own worth in God's eyes, you begin to see yourself as He sees you: precious, loved, and deserving of healing. Your compassion for others flows from the understanding that you too are deserving of love. When you recognize your own worth, you begin to open your heart again, not just to others, but to yourself. You begin to extend the same compassion to yourself that you have so freely offered to others in the past. But chosen one, reclaiming your compassion also requires patience. Healing is not a quick fix. It is a process that takes time, and there may be moments when you feel discouraged or frustrated. But I encourage you to be patient with yourself. Healing doesn't happen overnight. It is a journey, and every step you take toward reclaiming your heart is a step toward freedom. Each time you choose to forgive, to trust, to love, you are moving closer to the person God created you to be. Be patient, chosen one, and trust that God is working in you even when you can't see the immediate results. In those moments of frustration or doubt, remember that God is with you, guiding you and healing you. You are not walking this path alone. He is the one who has called you to reclaim your compassion, and He is the one who will equip you to do so. His love is stronger than any pain, and His grace is greater than any wound. As you surrender your hurt to Him, He will restore your heart, and He will fill you with the compassion that you have longed for. And remember, chosen one, that the compassion you reclaim is not just for yourself, it is for others. As God heals your heart, you will find that you are able to love more deeply, to empathize with others more fully, and to offer the same grace and mercy that God has shown you. Your healing becomes the source of healing for others. In reclaiming your compassion, you become a vessel of God's love, pouring out His grace to a hurting world. This is God's plan for your life, chosen one. He is calling you to live with a heart full of love, compassion, and grace, and through that, you will experience the fullness of life that He has created for you. Chosen one, as you begin to heal and reclaim your compassion, you will soon realize that the root of your pain is not simply the external circumstances or the people who have hurt you, but a deeper struggle within your own heart. At the core of this pain, there are often unresolved wounds, past betrayals, disappointments, or losses that have caused your heart to shut off, protecting itself from further harm. These wounds can create walls around your heart, preventing you from feeling the depth of love and compassion that God intends for you to experience. The healing process, therefore, begins with understanding the root of your pain and allowing God to address it. This is the spiritual challenge, chosen one, to confront the painful truths that you've buried deep within. It's easier to bury pain than to face it. It's easier to distract yourself with the busyness of life than to acknowledge the hurt that lies beneath the surface. But in doing so, you prolong the very healing that your soul needs. The key to reclaiming your compassion is to allow God to go to the root of your pain, to bring healing to the wounds that have kept you from loving freely, and to surrender those parts of your heart that you have been protecting for so long. The first step in this process is recognizing the wounds that have shaped your heart. This requires honesty, chosen one. It requires you to take a hard look at the experiences, the people and the situations that have hurt you. What are the things that have caused you to shut off your compassion? Are there unresolved hurts from your past that you have carried with you, waiting for the right moment to be healed? The pain you've experienced, whether from rejection, betrayal, or loss, has not gone unnoticed by God. He sees your pain, He understands it, and He is ready to heal it. To begin healing it is important to acknowledge the emotions you buried. Whether it's anger, sadness, or fear, these emotions are valid and they must be released in order for healing to take place. When you choose to bury your emotions, you inadvertently bury your compassion as well. Emotions, though difficult to face at times, are a vital part of being human. They are the channels through which we process our experiences and connect with others. When you allow yourself to feel your pain, to confront it, and to surrender it to God, you open yourself up to healing. It is through this vulnerability that you allow God to reach the deepest parts of your heart and begin the process of restoration. This act of confronting your pain can be difficult, but it is necessary. You may feel resistance, chosen one. The fear of reopening old wounds may make you hesitant to dive into this process, but know this: God's healing power is greater than any wound you carry. He is not asking you to relive your pain for the sake of suffering. He is asking you to face it so that you can experience His freedom. He wants to restore the areas of your heart that have been broken, to mend what has been torn, and to release you from the grip of past hurt. As you allow God to heal these wounds, you will begin to experience the transformation that comes from embracing His love. His love is the balm that heals every hurt, the salve that soothes every scar. When you surrender your pain to Him, He replaces it with peace. He replaces the bitterness, the anger, and the fear with joy, hope, and love. God's love is the antidote to the poison of hurt. And when you embrace it, you will find that your heart becomes soft once more. The walls you've built around your heart will begin to crumble, and your compassion will be reignited. There will be moments in this process when you feel like giving up. The pain may seem too overwhelming, the wounds too deep to heal. But remember, this chosen one, healing is a process. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen all at once. It takes time, patience, and trust in God's timing. Every step you take toward healing is a step toward reclaiming your compassion. Every moment you choose to surrender your pain to God is a moment of restoration. Even when it feels slow, even when it feels like nothing is changing, trust that God is at work within you. His healing power is gradual but sure. As you begin to heal, you will notice that your ability to love and extend compassion to others will gradually return. The more you allow God to heal your heart, the more your heart becomes a vessel of His love. You will find that you are able to empathize with others more deeply, to forgive more readily, and to offer grace more freely. The more you experience God's love for you, the more you will want to share that love with others. Your compassion, once lost, will be restored not as a fleeting feeling, but as a lasting, transformative force in your life. It's important, chosen one, to remember that the healing process is not linear. There will be times when you feel like you've taken 2 steps forward and 1 step back. You may encounter setbacks, moments when the wounds of the past resurface or when forgiveness feels difficult. But even in those moments, trust that God is still working in you. Healing is not about perfection, it's about progress. God is not asking you to be perfect. He is asking you to trust Him with your heart, to allow Him to heal you, and to take the next step in the journey of reclaiming your compassion. As you continue to heal, I encourage you to practice self-compassion. Just as you are extending grace to others, extend that same grace to yourself. Recognize that healing is a process and you are doing the best you can. Don't be too hard on yourself when things feel difficult or when you struggle to forgive. God's grace covers you, chosen one, and He is pleased with your willingness to heal. Be gentle with yourself as you walk through this process, knowing that each step you take brings you closer to the fullness of His love. In the end, chosen one, healing is not just about recovering what you've lost. It's about becoming who God created you to be. You were made to love deeply, to show compassion, and to serve others with a heart that overflows. As you heal, you will begin to live in alignment with God's divine purpose for your life. The compassion you once thought was lost will return, not just as it was before, but as something even more beautiful, something more rooted in God's love and grace. Your heart will be a living testimony to the power of His healing, and your life will be a reflection of His love for the world. Chosen one, as you continue the journey of reclaiming your compassion, you will begin to encounter a profound realization. True healing begins with forgiveness. In the process of confronting your wounds and the pain that has caused your heart to harden, you will find that forgiveness, both for others and for yourself, is the key that unlocks the door to deeper healing. Forgiveness is not always easy. It is not a one-time decision, but an ongoing process, a continual choice to release the grip of past hurts and allow God's grace to enter the deepest parts of your soul. Forgiveness is often misunderstood, chosen one. It is not about excusing wrongs or pretending that what happened didn't hurt. It is not about saying that the other person's actions were acceptable or that the injustice should be overlooked. Instead, forgiveness is a powerful act of surrender. It is a decision to let go of the need to hold on to the past, to release the bitterness, anger, and resentment that have taken root in your heart. It is a choice to trust God with the outcome and to free yourself from the emotional chains that have bound you to your pain. When you forgive, you are not setting the other person free. You are setting yourself free. I understand, chosen one, that the idea of forgiveness can feel overwhelming, especially when the pain is deep or when the person who hurt you seems undeserving of forgiveness. It may seem impossible to let go of the offense, to release the anger that has built up inside of you. But hear this: forgiveness is not about the other person, it is about you. It is about choosing peace over bitterness, healing over hurt, and freedom over the weight of your own pain. When you forgive, you stop letting the offense control you. You stop letting the past dictate your present and future. Forgiveness is the way out of the emotional prison you built, and it is the key that allows God to heal your heart. The first step in forgiveness is acknowledging the pain. You cannot forgive what you have not fully acknowledged. The pain of betrayal, the hurt of rejection, the disappointment of unmet expectations, all of these must be faced. You must allow yourself to feel the emotions that come with these hurts. It's tempting to push them aside or pretend they don't matter, but in doing so, you only delay your healing. Allow yourself to grieve, to feel the loss, and to face the rawness of the pain. Only when you have fully acknowledged the hurt can you begin the process of letting it go. Once you have acknowledged the pain, chosen one, the next step is to release it. Releasing does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending that the hurt didn't happen or that it didn't matter. It means choosing to no longer allow the offense to hold power over you. It means deciding that the anger, the bitterness, and the resentment will no longer control your heart. Release the hold that the offense has on your soul and give it over to God. Trust that He will handle the justice, that He will bring healing where it is needed, and that you do not need to carry this burden any longer. God is the righteous judge, and His ways are higher than ours. In releasing your need for justice, you make room for God's peace to fill your heart. Forgiveness is also about letting go of the need for an apology or for the other person to make it right. In many cases, the person who hurt you may never come back with an apology, and the situation may never be fully resolved. But chosen one, you don't need their apology to find freedom. Forgiveness is not about the other person's actions. It is about your heart. You can choose to forgive regardless of whether the other person acknowledges their wrongdoing or whether the situation is ever fully made right. Your peace is not dependent on their response. It is found in your choice to release the offense and trust God with the outcome. As you practice forgiveness, chosen one, you will begin to notice a shift in your heart. Bitterness will begin to lose its grip on you, and the chains of resentment will start to loosen. The more you forgive, the more you experience God's grace, not just for others, but for yourself as well. Forgiveness is the gateway to healing, and as you forgive, you open yourself to God's restorative power. You'll begin to feel lighter, freer, and more at peace with yourself and with others. Your heart will soften, and the compassion that you thought was gone will begin to return. There may be times when forgiveness feels difficult, when the wounds still feel too raw, or when the emotions are overwhelming. In these moments, chosen one, turn to God. Ask Him to give you the strength to forgive. Surrender your hurt to Him and ask for His grace to help you let go. Remember that forgiveness is a process, and it doesn't always happen all at once. But every time you choose to forgive, you take a step closer to reclaiming your compassion and healing your heart. Forgiveness also requires vulnerability. It means opening your heart again, allowing the possibility of being hurt once more. But this vulnerability is not a weakness, it is strength. It takes strength to forgive, strength to choose love over hate, and strength to trust that God's plan for your life is far greater than the pain you've experienced. In forgiving, you trust that God will protect your heart and that He will guide you toward healing. You allow yourself to be vulnerable, knowing that God's love will never fail you and that He will never leave you. The more you forgive, the more you will discover the true power of compassion. You will begin to see people through God's eyes, not as their actions, but as His beloved creation worthy of love and grace. Forgiveness opens your heart to see others not through the lens of judgment or offense, but through the lens of God's mercy. The more you forgive, the more you will find your heart overflowing with compassion for others, for their struggles and for their pain. And in this compassion, you will experience the fullness of God's love, both for yourself and for others. So, chosen one, forgive. Forgive those who have hurt you, forgive yourself for the mistakes you've made, and forgive the past for the pain it has caused. Let go of the chains of bitterness, resentment, and anger, and open your heart to God's healing love. In forgiveness, you will find the freedom you've been seeking, the peace that surpasses all understanding, and the compassion that you thought was lost. You will reclaim your heart, and in doing so, you will be a vessel of God's love and grace to the world. Chosen one, as you continue on this journey of reclaiming your compassion, you will encounter a significant truth that will guide you. Compassion is not a passive feeling. It is an active choice, a decision you make every day to extend love, mercy, and grace, even when it feels difficult. The world may tell you that compassion is reserved for those who deserve it, but God's compassion does not work this way. His compassion is for all, whether they are kind or unkind, deserving or undeserving. As you grow in compassion, you will realize that the power of compassion lies not in how others treat you, but in your willingness to extend God's love regardless of their actions. This is where true transformation happens. When you choose compassion, you are choosing to move past your own hurt and offer love and grace to others, even in the face of their faults or failures. It is easy to love those who treat you well, chosen one, but true compassion comes when you choose to love those who may have wronged you, hurt you, or caused you pain. This is the essence of God's love for us. He loves us not because of our actions or our worthiness, but because of His unfailing love. He calls you to reflect this love, to offer the same grace He has shown you, and to choose compassion over judgment, understanding over criticism. The challenge here, chosen one, is that choosing compassion when it's difficult requires you to let go of your need for justice or revenge. When you've been hurt, there is a natural inclination to want to see the person who wronged you pay for their actions. There may be an inner voice telling you that they don't deserve your love, that their actions warrant your anger or bitterness. But God calls you to a higher way. He calls you to rise above the cycle of hurt and retribution and choose to love, to forgive, and to release the desire for justice into His hands. Choosing compassion is not about condoning wrongdoing. It is about trusting God with the outcome and releasing your heart from the bitterness that only holds you captive. As you let go of anger and resentment, you will find that your heart becomes lighter. Compassion has a freeing effect on your soul. When you choose to extend love, even when you don't feel like it, you are releasing the grip that bitterness and hurt have on your life. The act of choosing compassion, of choosing to forgive and love in the face of wrong, is a way of healing your own heart. It breaks the chains that bind you to the past, and it opens up space for God's love to flow more freely through you. The more you choose compassion, the more you allow yourself to be healed, restored, and transformed by God's love. Now, I know, chosen one, that there will be times when you feel exhausted by the act of choosing compassion. It is not always easy, especially when the wounds are deep and the pain is fresh. In those moments, it is important to remember that compassion is not a feeling. It is an intentional decision. You may not feel like forgiving, you may not feel like loving, but by choosing compassion, you are aligning yourself with God's heart and opening yourself to His strength. His love will empower you to love when you don't have the strength on your own. When you feel weary, turn to Him. Ask for His help and know that He is with you every step of the way, helping you to love in ways that you cannot on your own. Compassion, chosen one, also requires humility. It requires you to acknowledge your own need for grace. When you understand the depths of God's love for you, how He has forgiven you, how He has shown you mercy, and how He has extended compassion toward you, you are better able to extend that same love to others. It is from the place of receiving God's grace that you can offer grace to others. Humility means recognizing that you too are in need of mercy and that the compassion you extend is a reflection of the love you have received. Choosing compassion also involves seeing others through the eyes of God. So often when we are hurt, we focus solely on the offense, on the wrong done to us, and we forget that the person who hurt us is also deeply loved by God. This does not excuse their actions, but it shifts your perspective. You begin to see them not just as the one who wronged you, but as a child of God, someone who is also in need of His grace. When you choose to see others as God sees them, your heart softens and compassion becomes more natural. You begin to recognize their brokenness, their struggles, and their need for love, just as you have your own. This compassion allows you to extend forgiveness and love, even when it feels difficult, and to recognize that we are all in need of God's mercy. Another key element to reclaiming your compassion, chosen one, is the willingness to be vulnerable. Compassion often requires you to open yourself up, to expose your heart and your emotions, even when it feels risky. When you choose to love and show compassion, you are choosing to be vulnerable, to give of yourself, to extend your heart to others, and to trust that God will protect and guide you. It is through this vulnerability that real healing happens. When you open yourself up to others in compassion, you allow God to work in you and through you in profound ways. As you choose compassion, you will find that the more you give, the more you receive. Compassion is not a limited resource. It doesn't run out when you give it away. In fact, the more you give, the more you are filled with God's love. When you choose to love and show compassion, you become a channel of God's grace, allowing His love to flow through you and touch the lives of others. And in doing so, you experience a deeper connection with God, a deeper understanding of His love, and a deeper sense of purpose. Chosen one, reclaiming your compassion is not a one-time act. It is a lifelong journey. It requires ongoing surrender, ongoing trust, and ongoing choice. But every time you choose compassion, you are drawing closer to the heart of God. You are becoming more like him, reflecting his love and grace to the world. As you continue to walk this path, you will find that your heart becomes more aligned with his, that your compassion grows deeper, and that your ability to love others expands. Remember, chosen one, that in the journey of reclaiming your compassion, God is with you. He is healing your heart, restoring what has been broken, and guiding you to a place of deep love and grace. Every step you take toward compassion is a step toward becoming the person God created you to be. Trust in his process and know that his love will never fail you. Chosen one, as you continue to move forward on your journey of reclaiming your compassion, you will begin to realize something powerful. The compassion you are called to offer is not just for others, it is also for yourself. It's easy to extend grace, kindness, and understanding to others, especially when we see their needs and hurts. But far too often, we fail to offer the same compassion to ourselves. We are our own harshest critics, holding ourselves to impossible standards and believing that we are not deserving of the same love and grace we so freely offer to others. It's time, chosen one, to reclaim that compassion for yourself. You may have spent years criticizing yourself, believing that your mistakes, your flaws, and your imperfections disqualify you from experiencing God's love. You may have allowed the hurt and pain from past failures to define you, thinking that because you have fallen short, you are unworthy of forgiveness or compassion. But hear this truth now: you are worthy of compassion, chosen one. You are worthy of the same grace and mercy that God has poured out upon you. God does not see you as defined by your mistakes or imperfections. He sees you as his beloved child, created in his image, worthy of love and restoration. To reclaim your compassion for yourself, you must first acknowledge the lies that have held you captive, the lies that tell you that you are not good enough, that you are defined by your failures, that you are unworthy of love. These lies, though powerful, are not the truth. The truth is that you are a child of God, created with purpose and love, and his compassion for you is not based on your performance, but on his unending love for you. When you begin to embrace this truth, you open the door to healing. You begin to see yourself as God sees you, valuable, loved, and worthy of compassion. This journey of self-compassion requires vulnerability. It means allowing yourself to feel your emotions, to grieve your pain, and to acknowledge your needs without judgment. It means allowing yourself to be human, to accept your imperfections, and to recognize that you are not defined by your shortcomings. It is in this vulnerability that true healing occurs. When you choose to show yourself compassion, you release the hold that self-criticism and guilt have on your life. You begin to heal the wounds that have kept you from experiencing the fullness of God's love for you. Self-compassion also means forgiving yourself. Forgiveness is a vital part of the healing process. You may have made mistakes in the past, chosen paths that led to hurt or disappointment, or struggled with patterns of behavior that you regret. But God is offering you forgiveness, and he is asking you to extend that same forgiveness to yourself. It is time to release the burden of guilt and shame that you've been carrying. You do not need to live in the shadow of your past mistakes. God has already forgiven you, and now it's time for you to forgive yourself. Forgiving yourself is not about excusing your past actions or pretending that they didn't matter. It is about releasing the weight of shame and guilt, trusting that God's grace is sufficient for all of your shortcomings. Forgiving yourself is an act of faith. It is trusting that God's love is greater than your failures and that he has already made a way for you to be restored. As you forgive yourself, you open your heart to receive the fullness of God's love and compassion, and you free yourself from the chains of regret that have held you captive for so long. The power of self-compassion also lies in the way it transforms your relationship with God. When you embrace God's love and grace for yourself, you open yourself to a deeper relationship with him. You no longer feel the need to hide from him or to pretend to be something you're not. You can approach God with an open heart, knowing that he sees you as his beloved child, deserving of his love and care. This vulnerability before God creates space for intimacy where you can fully experience His presence and trust that He is with you in every moment. In embracing self-compassion, you will also notice that your relationships with others will begin to shift. As you show yourself kindness, grace, and understanding, you'll begin to extend that same compassion to others. The love and compassion you offer to yourself will overflow into the lives of those around you, and you will find that your ability to love deeply and unconditionally grows. This is the power of self-compassion. It is not selfish, but rather the foundation for loving others well. When you understand God's love for you, you are able to love others in the same way. But chosen one's self-compassion is not just about embracing your imperfections. It is also about recognizing the beauty within you. Too often we focus on what is wrong with us and overlook the incredible gifts and strengths that God has placed within us. When you practice self-compassion, you are allowing yourself to see the goodness that God has woven into your being. You are learning to love yourself for who you are, not for what you do or don't do. You are embracing the fullness of who God created you to be, and in doing so, you are honoring Him. Take a moment now, chosen one, to reflect on the ways in which you have shown yourself compassion. How have you allowed yourself to feel? How have you forgiven yourself for past mistakes? How have you embraced your imperfections and recognized the beauty within you? Allow yourself to feel the weight of God's love for you in these moments. As you do, you will find that your heart becomes softer, your spirit becomes lighter, and your compassion for yourself and for others deepens. As you continue to walk in this journey of self-compassion, chosen one, I encourage you to take small steps each day to nurture your heart. Spend time with God, asking Him to show you His love for you. Allow His love to fill you to overflowing, and then extend that love to yourself. Be patient with yourself, knowing that healing is a process and that God is working in you every step of the way. Trust that as you embrace self-compassion, you will experience the fullness of God's love, and in that love you will find peace, joy, and the strength to love others well. You are worthy of compassion, chosen one. You are deserving of love, and as you reclaim your heart, you will discover that God's love is more than enough to heal every wound and restore you to wholeness. Embrace self-compassion, and in doing so, you will experience the peace and healing that only God can provide. Chosen one, as you continue to embrace self-compassion, you will find that the act of healing your heart is not only a deeply personal journey, but a powerful catalyst for transformation in the lives of those around you. When you show yourself compassion, it doesn't just affect your relationship with yourself. It has a ripple effect that extends outward, touching every relationship, every interaction, and every corner of your life. This is the incredible power of compassion. It begins within you, but it overflows into the world around you, becoming a source of healing and light to others. You may find, chosen one, that as your heart softens, as your compassion deepens, your ability to empathize with others grows exponentially. You start to see people not just as individuals, but as children of God, each carrying their own burdens, their own struggles, and their own stories. The more you open your heart to yourself, the more you begin to recognize the pain and the beauty in the hearts of others. You will notice their struggles, their joys, and their humanity, and in doing so, you will be drawn to offer them the same love and compassion that you have offered yourself. This is the essence of divine love. It is not just for you. It is meant to be shared. One of the most profound ways you will experience transformation in your relationships is through the practice of active compassion. Compassion is not simply an internal state of being. It is an outward action, a choice to show up for others in their time of need, to listen when they need someone to hear them, and to offer a hand when they need someone to lift them up. Compassion is not just about feeling for others. It is about doing for others. And this doing doesn't always require grand gestures or dramatic acts of service. Sometimes the most profound acts of compassion are small, quiet, and simple. A kind word, a gentle touch, a moment of patience. These seemingly insignificant actions carry the power to change lives, to bring comfort, and to restore hope. As you continue to practice compassion in your relationships, chosen one, you will also begin to experience something truly remarkable. You will become a conduit of God's love and healing. When you show compassion, you reflect the very nature of God. God is love, and when you live from a place of compassion, you allow His love to flow through you, reaching others in ways that you may never fully understand. You may never know the full impact of your kindness, but trust that God is using your compassion to bring healing to others. Your acts of love, no matter how small, are a powerful witness to the love of Christ. However, there may be moments when showing compassion feels difficult, when the pain of your own healing journey still weighs heavily on your heart. You may feel that you don't have enough to give, that your own wounds are too raw for you to offer love to others. But chosen one, let me remind you, compassion is not about your ability to give. It's about God's ability to work through you. When you surrender to God, He will fill you with the compassion that you need. You don't have to rely on your own strength. You can lean on God's endless reservoir of love. In those moments when you feel empty, trust that God will fill you up, that He will equip you to love even when you don't feel like you have enough to offer. He will restore your heart so that you can offer the love and compassion that the world so desperately needs. Even as you pour out compassion to others, it is crucial to remember that you must continually refill your own heart. Self-compassion is not a one-time event. It is a continuous practice. In the same way that you fill others with God's love, you must allow yourself to be filled by God's love. You cannot pour from an empty cup. Make time each day to rest in God's presence, to receive His love, and to allow His peace to restore you. You must create space for God to fill you up, to heal your wounds, and to renew your strength. Only then can you continue to pour out compassion to others without depleting yourself. Through this process, you will also begin to notice something profound. As you become a vessel of compassion, you will experience a deep fulfillment and joy that come from living in alignment with God's purpose for your life. Compassion brings you closer to God's chosen one. It allows you to reflect His heart and to partner with Him in bringing healing to the world. There is no greater joy than knowing that you are living in the fullness of God's love and sharing that love with others. It's also important to understand that compassion is not just about the people in your immediate circle. It extends far beyond your family, your friends, or your community. Compassion has the power to reach even the broken, hurting people you may never meet. When you choose to live with compassion, you become part of a larger movement, a movement of love that transcends boundaries and connects people from all walks of life. Your compassion can break down walls, cross divides, and unite hearts. As God's love flows through you, it becomes a force for good in the world, reaching far beyond what you can see or understand. This is the beautiful truth, chosen one. As you reclaim your compassion, you become an instrument of God's love. You become a living witness to the transformative power of compassion, a beacon of hope and light in a world that so desperately needs it. And in this, you will find your own heart restored. The more you give, the more you receive. The more you pour out, the more you are filled. This divine exchange is how God's love works. It flows in and through you, bringing healing, peace, and joy to both you and others. As you continue on this journey, chosen one, remember that compassion is not a destination. It is a way of life. It is an ongoing choice to love, to serve, and to offer grace no matter what the world may throw at you. It is an invitation to live in the freedom that God's love provides, to embrace others with His heart, and to share His love with the world. Compassion is the key to living the abundant life that God has promised you, and as you embrace it, you will experience the fullness of life that comes from living in alignment with His heart. So, chosen one, continue to let compassion be your guide. Reclaim your heart, surrender your hurts to God, and allow His love to transform you. As you do, you will find that your life is filled with purpose, meaning, and the joy that comes from living in God's peace. You will be a beacon of light, a vessel of God's love, and a reflection of His heart to the world. And in this, you will find the deepest fulfillment and the greatest joy. Chosen one, as you arrive at the final step of this transformative journey, there is one last truth to grasp, one final invitation to accept. Reclaiming your compassion is not just about healing your heart and learning to love again. It is about living out the divine purpose for which you were created. Compassion is the lens through which you will see the world, the foundation upon which you will build your relationships, and the strength you will draw upon as you walk in the destiny God has designed for you. You may have spent much of your life focused on what you could achieve, on what you could do for others, or even on what you could earn or accomplish. You may have believed that your worth was tied to your actions, your success, or your ability to do it all. But as you have discovered through this journey, chosen one, true fulfillment does not come from striving or achievement. It comes from love. And the love you are called to offer is not just any love, but a deep, compassionate love that reflects the heart of God. This compassionate love is not just for you to experience, but for you to give. It is in the giving of love that you fulfill your divine purpose. God has placed you in this world at this moment in time with a unique set of gifts, experiences, and insights. He has crafted you to be a vessel of His love, a reflection of His compassion in a world that so desperately needs it. Your compassion is the key to unlocking the fullness of your life's purpose. It is the thread that ties together everything you are and everything you do. When you allow God to heal your heart and restore your compassion, you are not simply receiving love for yourself. You are being equipped to pour that love out to others. Compassion becomes your ministry. Compassion becomes the way you interact with the world. Compassion becomes the hands and feet of Christ in the world, reaching out to the hurting, the broken, the lost, and the needy. You are called to be a living testament of God's love, chosen one. And the way you do that is by choosing to live a life of compassion day after day, moment by moment. You may be wondering, chosen one, what this looks like in practical terms. How can you live out this compassion every day? The answer lies in the small, everyday choices you make. Compassion isn't just found in grand gestures or heroic acts. It is often found in the quiet moments, in the subtle ways that you show up for others. It is in the way you listen when someone is hurting, the way you offer a kind word when someone feels unseen, in the way you extend grace when it is easier to judge. Compassion is about meeting others where they are seeing them as God sees them and loving them as He loves you. The beautiful thing about compassion is that it does not have to be earned or given on the basis of whether someone deserves it. In fact, true compassion is offered freely without expectation of return. This is the love that God has for you, unconditional, unearned, and abundant. When you offer this same kind of love to others, you become a channel for God's grace to flow. You reflect His heart to the world, and in doing so, you fulfill the calling He has placed on your life. Living a life of compassion will also transform your relationships, chosen one. As you practice compassion, you will find that your relationships deepen and grow richer. When you show up for others with love and understanding, they will feel seen, valued, and heard. Compassion breaks down walls. It opens hearts. It fosters connection. And it allows you to build relationships that are not based on superficiality or performance, but on mutual love and respect. Your compassion will also make a difference in the way you approach your work, your community, and your service to others. When you approach life through the lens of compassion, everything changes. You begin to serve not out of obligation or duty, but out of a deep desire to reflect God's love to those around you. Whether it's in your job, your ministry, or your everyday interactions, compassion will shape the way you show up in the world. You will no longer approach tasks with the mindset of merely completing them. You will approach them with the mindset of serving others and glorifying God. Every action, no matter how small, becomes an opportunity to reflect the heart of God. Now, chosen one, it's important to acknowledge that living a life of compassion is not always easy. There will be times when you are tired, when you feel like you have nothing left to give, or when the pain of others becomes overwhelming. It's in those moments that you must remember that God's compassion is not something you can muster on your own. It is something that flows from Him through you. You are merely the vessel. You don't have to be perfect in your compassion. You just have to be willing to let God work through you. His love will fill you, restore you, and give you the strength to keep going. When you feel like you can't offer any more compassion, remember that God's love is endless. His well never runs dry. Take time to sit in His presence to receive His love and to be refreshed by His grace. When you allow God's love to fill you, you will find that you have more to give than you ever thought possible. Compassion is a continual cycle. God fills you with His love, and you pour that love out to others. This is the rhythm of divine life, and it is the way that God has designed you to live. You will also discover that the more you choose compassion, the more your heart will soften. You will find that your capacity for love and empathy grows. You will be able to see others with new eyes of grace and understanding. The more you give, the more you will receive. Compassion is a transformative force in your life, and as you practice it, you will experience the fullness of God's love in ways that will change you forever. So, chosen one, embrace your calling to live a life of compassion. Allow God to heal your heart, to fill you with His love, and to restore your capacity for empathy and grace. Trust that as you give of yourself, God will give back to you in ways you cannot even imagine. Your compassion will become the living testimony of God's love to the world, and it will lead you into the abundant, purposeful life that He has created for you. Embrace this divine purpose with a heart full of love, chosen one. Let your compassion be the light that shines in the darkness, the balm that soothes the wounded, and the grace that transforms lives. This is your calling, and through it, you will experience the fullness of God's love and purpose for your life.